So I was scrolling through the latest tech leaks today, and my jaw literally hit the desk. Apple is about to drop a massive upgrade to the Mac Studio, but if you buy one, you will never even see the biggest feature. And no, I'm not talking about some invisible software tweak or a new icon pack. I'm talking about a physical, heavy metal hardware change hidden deep inside that literally stops this thing from melting on your desk. Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg just leaked the full details, and once you hear what is going on behind closed doors, every single weird rumor about this machine finally makes total sense. But first, let us get the boring stuff out of the way. That chunky silver aluminum box sitting on your desk right now? Yeah, it is not changing at all. Same height, same width, same square footprint looking right back at you. Apple is not giving us a sleek new design or a fresh color option. What is changing is the massive hunk of copper and aluminum trapped inside the shell. Apple is quietly, completely redesigning the internal cooling heatsink. Why? Because the upcoming M5 Ultra processor is an absolute monster, and the old fans simply cannot keep up with the heat anymore. They had to rebuild the lungs of the entire machine just so it could breathe under pressure. Now, why is this new M5 chip running so insanely hot in the first place? Well, let us break it down real simple. Normally, Apple takes two of their Max chips and basically glues them together to make an Ultra chip. But this time, they are trying a brand new trick called fusion architecture. Instead of squeezing everything onto one gigantic piece of silicon, they are physically splitting the CPU and the GPU into separate blocks. Splitting them up gives Apple way better control over how power flows through the system, which gives you insane efficiency. But moving that much raw power around in a new way creates massive heat hotspots. That is why the old cooling block had to be thrown in the trash. And trust me, they need every bit of cooling they can get, because rumor says this beast is aiming for up to 36 CPU cores and a massive 80 GPU cores. Now here's a stat that blew my mind when I first saw it. If you look at the current laptop lineup, a simple MacBook Pro with an M4 Max chip inside is actually beating the giant M3 Ultra Max Studio in raw CPU speed. Think about that for a second. A portable laptop that fits in your backpack is outperforming a massive desktop workstation on CPU tasks. The only reason that old desktop still holds on in heavy graphics work is because it has a mountain of extra GPU cores to brute force the job. And that is exactly why this jump to 80 graphics cores on the M5 Ultra is such a massive big deal. If you spend your day editing heavy 8K video, rendering complex 3D scenes, or pushing millions of pixels, graphics cores are basically your oxygen. But then I saw the single craziest spec sheet leak of the entire year. Bloomberg reports that Apple has been actively testing this new desktop with up to 768 gigabytes of unified memory. Just let that number sink in for a second. We are talking about 768 gigs of system RAM, not storage space. For a regular person checking emails, writing docs, or watching videos, that number is a hilarious joke. But if you work with massive local AI models, the kind of heavy lifting that usually requires renting expensive cloud server racks every month, this changes everything. You will be able to load gigantic AI models directly onto your local machine without sending a single byte of data to the cloud. So what is the catch? Because with Apple, there is always a catch. Well, we were actually supposed to see this workstation drop way earlier. Everyone expected a launch in the first half of 2026, but summer came and went, and we got absolutely zero announcements. The reason for the delay is not a bug in the code, it is a massive global shortage of memory chips squeezing the entire tech industry right now. It is hitting Apple so hard that if you try to order a current Mac Studio today, you might be sitting on a 10-week waiting list just to get it shipped. Right now, insiders are pointing toward an October 2026 launch window for this M5 Ultra monster. And apparently, this specific desktop is going to be the grand finale for the M5 era, closing the book before Apple starts teasing the M6 and eventually an M7 Ultra down the line in 2028. Because of that huge memory shortage, do not expect a friendly price tag either. The base Mac Studio currently starts at $2,000, but with internal component costs skyrocketing, rumors say Apple might quietly kill off the cheaper entry-level options altogether. You might be forced to pay way more just to get your foot in the door. So here's the bottom line. You are not getting a flashy new box to show off on your desk. What you are actually buying is a massive jump in raw processing power, a brand new internal cooling setup built from scratch to tame the heat, and enough memory to run basically anything on the planet. You're just going to have to wait longer and pay a whole lot more money for it. So I have to ask you guys, is 768 gigabytes of memory in a desktop computer something you could actually use in your workflow? Or is Apple just showing off numbers at this point? Let me know what you think down in the comments below.